I'm sitting here in your new 2020 Outback XT ONYX edition. I just want to go over a couple of features with you. Of course, if you do have any other additional questions, you can always reach us here at Spangler Subaru. But a couple things to note is that you'll see that on this giant screen we have here, this is what's going to control most everything on the car. So right now it's displaying your radio, but if you hit that little home plate icon, that is going to pull up your home screen, where you're going to see your map, your radio, your media, which is going to be anything Bluetooth or USB or through the auxiliary jack, which you're actually going to find right in front of your gear selector. You're also going to see that's where you pair your phone and the different apps that are compatible with the vehicle as well, most notably being Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which we're going to see are grayed out right now. In order to use those, you do need to be tethered to the USB port in order for those apps to work. But then you're going to see some information about your car, as well as your My Subaru app there as well, and all of your settings. So every setting in the car can be accessed right through the screen right here. Do have to make sure you actually touch the button. But you see that there's general settings, basically how this screen is going to look for the most part there. Sound settings, navigation settings. We're also going to see across the top that there's more. There's phone, there's radio, there's car settings. And every little tiny piece of driver assist technology, all of those settings are going to be right in this area here. Now, luckily, they did give you a quick shortcut to your car settings by clicking on this little car here. And that's going to pull up, again, your vehicle dynamics control. That's your stability and traction control. The only time you want to turn that off is if you're stuck in some deep snow or deep mud. X mode, that is going to be your for low traction, like light off-roading, those sorts of situations. It only is operational under 18 miles an hour. You do have two different X modes in there. So normal, that's just regular old driving. Then there's snow and dirt, deep snow and mud. The difference between those two is that the deep snow and mud has traction control turned off. But otherwise, it's just monitoring wheel spin and braking and how much power is going to each one of your wheels, and it's going to adjust accordingly. It's going to try to keep you on your intended path, taking into account things like steering angle and things of that nature. It also will keep you below 12 miles an hour when descending a hill. So as with that, it's desensitizing your accelerator pedal so that you're not spinning out in loose material, things like that. Auto vehicle hold, that is going to work alongside the parking brake. So anytime the car comes to a complete stop, when auto vehicle hold is on, and if you were to turn that on, you do see an indicator on your dashboard telling you that is on. However, your seatbelt does need to be on in order for that to be activated. In that case, anytime the car comes to a complete stop, when you take your foot off the brake, the car isn't going to go anywhere. It's going to hold its position until you hit the gas pedal. You'll also see your driving assistance, so pre-collision braking is on by default. That is, so if you're driving down the road, someone slams on their brakes ahead of you, hopefully you react to it yourself. If not, the car will warn you first. It'll beep at you. It'll flash some lights. You'll see some lights flash on your dashboard, on your windshield, letting you know that there is a accident in front of you, or a potential accident waiting in front of you. Hopefully that's enough to catch your attention and you hit the brake pedal yourself. If not, the car does apply the brake at the last second, so at slower speeds will completely avoid the accident. You also see lane departure functions, so by default, this is just a warning buzzer. These cameras are watching the lines painted on the road. If you start to veer outside those lines, you're going to hear the buzzer. You're going to see some lights letting you know that you are leaving your lane. You can also put the lane departure prevention function only. That actually will steer you out of, try to steer you back into the center of the lane rather than giving you a warning, or you could put both functions on at once. Then you see BSD RCTA, that's blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alerts. Those are lights on your side mirrors that will illuminate orange if somebody is in your blind spot. Rear cross traffic alerts, same indicators in the side mirrors. This is when you're in reverse. Your camera and your mirrors are going to show you what's directly behind you, but if there's any traffic moving left to right, those radar sensors are going to pick up on that and give you an audible warning as well as the visual lights going off. Then you see your other features, cruise console characteristics, the warning volumes, your units in case you wanted to switch to metric. Auto start stop feature is the other one to note here. So if the car is at a complete stop, rather than idling, the engine will shut off, saving you fuel and cutting back on the emissions. There are criteria why the engine wouldn't stop. Like, for instance, right now, we're in park, so the engine will remain running. Also, my seatbelt is not on, so the engine will remain running. Other reasons, if the defroster's on, if the air conditioner's working hard to maintain temperature inside the vehicle, if the wheels are turned, there's about a dozen or so criteria that won't allow that engine to stop. You can also manually turn that off. And if we take a look at this screen, between your speedometer and tach, you see the A with a circle around it right above the P for park. That is letting you know that that auto start stop feature is on. The line through it is letting you know that the engine isn't going to stop on you in this case. But if we were to turn that off by clicking on the screen, we're going to see that that turns orange, letting you know that that feature is off. That is something, if you did turn that off, you'd have to turn it off every time you got in the car. Or every time you started the car, I should say. So you do have a little quick reference there. The little quick thing with a silhouette of a person, that is to set up different driver profiles if you have different radio stations you want to program in, things like that. You also see below, all of your climate control is going to be on the touch screen. So they did thankfully give you some physical buttons. So you see these buttons on the side, that's going to work your thermostat, just like that, as well as you have your front and rear defroster physical buttons there as well. But you also can touch the screen and it pulls up your menu where you can adjust your thermostat that way. You can also adjust your heated seats on that menu as well. You're going to see that the fan speed is across the bottom, and you can adjust the fan speed like so. And then the vents, if you click on that icon there, pulls up your different vents as well as your fan speed that you can control right from there. So that is your main screen that we see there. Backup camera will pop on when the car is in reverse. And we see that is beeping. Those are the parking sensors. You see your reverse automatic braking and your parking sensors are on. What those are doing, those are sonar sensors in the vehicle on the bumper. As you get close to an obstacle, it will start to beep at you. The quicker it's beeping, or in that case a long beep, means that you were very close. The reverse automatic braking will apply the brakes if you're about to run into whatever that obstacle is. You also, if you notice on by your gear selector, you do have a button for your front view camera, which pulls up on your screen a 180 degree view of the front of your car, and that camera is mounted right in on your grille. You're also going to see your parking brake is right in there. It is electronic parking brake. You pull up on it to engage. To disengage it, you put your foot on the brake pedal and then press down on the lever. That parking brake will automatically disengage if the car is in gear, your seatbelt's on as soon as you touch the brake pedal. You're going to see in your gear selector park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then M is for manual mode. So you can kick the shifter over to the left where it'll allow you to use the paddles on the steering wheel to manually shift through virtual gears. It's a CVT transmission, so there's not actually gears. If we move on up here, we do see the button for your moonroof. You're also going to see the SOS and the roadside assistance button. This is tied into your Starlink account. You do have 3 years of the basic plan for free. But basically what that is, if you're in an accident where the airbags automatically deploy, they'll call Starlink, or Starlink will actually call the car and ask you, if you're all right and everything. The SOS button would be for medical emergencies, or if you're in an accident where the airbags didn't deploy. The blue one is for roadside assistance. If we take a look at the steering wheel, we see that our audio controls are right in here. We see these buttons. As we pull those toward us, they're going to scroll through the information right there in that center screen. So you have a number of different things that can be viewed there. And then on the right spoke, this is where you're going to see your cruise control buttons. This button right there is going to turn on your cruise, and when you do that, you see a silver card that represents you. So when you set and resume, just like you do on any other cruise control there, once you have your cruise speed set, if the car in front of you is moving slower than whatever your cruise speed is, you'll hear the car beep. You'll also see another silver car show up in that screen there. In that case, you will actually slow down to their speed at a distance which you can control using these two buttons to extend or decrease the distance between you and that car. And you'll maintain their speed until you're either able to get around them or if they get out of your way. You also see this button here is for your lane centering technology. So with cruise control on, if you press that button, you're going to see a steering wheel in that center screen letting you know that feature is on. What that is going to do, it's actually going to actively steer the car into the center of the lane. That's going to keep you in watching those lines painted on the road. You'll actually feel the steering wheel steer into the center of the lane. It's not autopilot. You still need to keep your hands on the wheel, but it's just a little driver assist thing there. The one last thing I do want to mention is the power rear gate. So if you press and hold this button over to the left, or press and hold the button that is on the key, that will open the rear gate. Now you do also have a hands-free power gate. This button activates that. So all you need to do is put your hand, as long as the key is on your person, put your hand underneath the Subaru logo, you will hear a beep and then the door will open. If for some reason you wanted to turn that off, like if you were washing the car or something like that, you can press that button and turn that sensor off. But that's just a quick overview of a couple of the features in your new Outback. Like I said, if you do have any questions, you can always reach us here at Spangler Subaru.